every penny saves about 7 cents in interest you don't have to pay. I love knowing that. So now let's just say I'm only giving you two choices. You can prepay the $24.56 on line 12, or line 24, you can prepay $5,063.50 and knock out 24 payments and save the interest about 23 grand. So which would you choose, line 12 or line 24, if you had plenty of money in the bank?
I mean, if I had plenty of money, I would want to pay as much as I can.
Okay.
However, I would probably pay it as a whole 24 if I had it.
Okay, if you had it. Okay, and why would you do that?
To save $23,000.
You're cracking me up. See, when you know how much interest you can save, it changes the whole picture, doesn't it?
Of course.
Watch this now. Now we're going to get down to the nitty gritty. I'm going to tell a little story, and then we're going to get back into this. Now, some people have heard this story before. Some of this is new. So every now and then, my wife makes zucchini bread. And we had dinner out of our house yesterday. And a few people came over, and one lady brought vegetables from her garden. And guess what was in there? Some zucchinis. So my wife is going to make zucchini bread with it. So when she does that, she puts in golden raisins. So one Sunday, she's mixing up the batter for the, heating up the oven and grating the zucchinis and stuff, and just, getting ready to do the zucchini bread. And she looks into the pantry, and guess what, Miss Shonda?
No golden raisins.
No golden raisins. So who gets to go to the store?
You, of course.
Why is that of course?
She's doing all the hard work baking. You can go get the golden raisins.
Well, that nobody ever gets that wrong, and you're right. So she sends me to the store. So she says, bring me back 2 boxes. So as I'm going to the store to get the 2 boxes of raisins, all right, I get there and I find out that the raisins come in 2 different size boxes. There's a 12-ounce box and there's an 18-ounce box. 2 different prices. How do I know which one is the best value?
You look at the price per unit.
Exactly. So now I'm looking at the unit price. And since I don't want to do the math, I could just take a look and see on the shelf. And I just found out that, these raisins over here cost 6 cents an ounce, but these raisins over here cost 3 cents an ounce. Do I want to pay 6 cents an ounce for raisins when I could get them at 3?
Of course, you want to take the cheaper price if you're going to be using them all before the expiration date.
There you go. And she uses them up, believe me. So do you realize that once we put this money on the mortgage and we can see how much interest we're saving, if we did a little math, we can get the unit price. We can sit and see how much interest we're saving per dollar. How about that? So let's put that on the screen. And if you want to, you can check me. You can pull up your own calculator. And I'm going to pull up my calculator on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. And so we're going to see, we're going to take a look at the amount of interest we could save if we prepay the $24.5601. We're going to save $11,933.19. So I'm going to put that money in. I'm going to put into my calculator $11,933.19. So that's the interest savings. So, Ms. Shonda, if I prepay the $24.5601 and I save that money, that means if I divide the $11,933 by the $24.5601, will that tell me my unit cost or how much interest I'm saving per dollar? Will that?
Yeah.
So let me go ahead and click on divide. Okay. So we're going to divide 24.56.01, and that equals $4.85. So we just found out for every dollar I'm saving $4.85 per dollar. Isn't that good to know?
Sure.
So listen, if you gave me $1 and I gave you back $4.85 for every dollar you gave me, how often would you do that?
All the time.
The bank has to do the same thing. And that's what we need to narrow this thing down to. I want to make sure every single penny I have is working. So if I know that I can make my dollar save me $4.85, do I want to save less per dollar? Let's do the.
Let's save more per dollar.
Yeah, so let's do line 24 now. Remember, $4.85. So now we're going to clear this out. We're going to put into our calculator line 24, 23,714.90. And we're going to divide that by $5,063.50. Right? And when we click on, okay, so we were at 485. How much are we saving now in interest when it pops up on the screen? How much are we saving now?
That's 468.
So we're saving less per dollar, aren't we?
Yes.
So if I can save $4.85 per dollar, do I want to accept 468?
Of course not.
So it matters when we put money on and how much we pay to optimize. So this was a quick lesson in CPA, what we call critical point analysis. What is the least amount of money I can pay to save the most amount of interest I possibly can? How about that? So we have a computer system that does all of the work for us. It's called our opportunity cost calculator. It is a cloud-based computing system that we can put all of our numbers in, that does all of the math, that tells you how much money to move, what month to move it in, what day of the month to move it on. And what we do for our clients is we do what's called a savings and earnings report so that they can all know the month, day, and year they're debt free and how much interest they could save. And then if they want our system, we show them how to get the system so that our system can guide them step by step on how to save the most amount of interest. And the more interest you save, how about that? The faster you get out of debt. So it's not how fast you get out of debt, it's how cheaply you get out of debt. Cheap equates to fast. So you pay a lot less interest, you get out of debt faster with your current budget. You don't need more money, you just need to pay less interest. What do you think, Ms. Shonda?
That's awesome. Now, is that over time or is that a one-time thing?
What's that?
So, say when you first sign up, you have only this amount of debt, but say 6 months down the line, you buy a car also. So, is this available over a period of time, or is it that one time when you first come and get your consultation, or you pay for the program?
Very good question. Well, you do have to add another mortgage to it, but guess what? Let me tell you this story. We have a client that I met in 2008, just out of college, paid off their first mortgage in 6.5 years on our program, and then all of their student loans the next year. So they were completely debt free at that point. They used the same program to pay off their second mortgage, and then their third mortgage, which will be paid off next year. They're still using the same program, and they paid for it once. How does that sound to you? So the same program can be used over and over again because it's a lifetime program.
And that was my question. Thank you. That sounds awesome.
There you go. All right, folks. So, Ms. Shonda, are you complete?
Yes. So you were saying that they put in not only their mortgage payment, but this is also applicable to any other payments, like for car notes or whatever other loans. You can use the same system.
If it carries interest, you want it in this system. That is correct.
All right, great. Thank you very much. I am complete.
Thank you so much for bringing your question to the stage.
But Don has some valuable information that can contribute to the quality of a person's life. And it only costs you a few dollars. It's his book. Why not get that?
I'm going to go through the P.I.L.L method myself with some of my investment properties. So I'm going to link up with Don, and then I'm going to sit down with him, show him my investment portfolio, and see how I can eliminate interest.